Good afternoon, dear students. Today we're going to look at the second variation of the Scotch game. This is the Scotch game when you play d4, like this. When you play d4 on your third move, then we have the Scotch game. And now how should black respond? Black responds with e takes on d4, and then knight takes on d4. And we have seen the game where you capture on d4 and the queen comes to the center, and we would not recommend that you do that. So here it's best to bring your bishop out to c5 to continue with your development, and white will do the same and play the bishop to e3 to also develop, but it's actually to protect the knight a second time, because right now black is attacking it with the bishop and black is also attacking it with the knight. So you have to defend your knight, and that is what we are doing here. A mistake here by black now after bishop to e3 would be knight to f6. And here I would like you to pause the video and look at it and see what is wrong with that move. Pause the video and see if you can find a winning move for white. White can win a piece. If you did not find it, I can show you now. Knight takes on c6. And now we have a problem, because the queen is in danger. If you capture back with the pawn, then we take your bishop. So let's go back and see what was the situation. You have a piece that is unprotected. Piece that is unprotected on c5. And so you cannot play. Yes, you want to play your knight out and you want to castle, but you have to pay attention what the opponent is doing. Most of the time, some opening theory is, or the move order is played in such a way that there is a lot of pitfalls, and this is one of them. And if you just learn how to play the Italian opening or Italian game, and you start with the Scotch, then you will struggle a bit, because you have to be so careful with every move that you make. So it's not easy development. If you know, it's easy, but if you don't know, then it's not easy. So we can then see that the bishop attacks the other bishop, and therefore if you play a knight out, then you move the knight and you uncover a devastating attack on the queen and on the bishop at the same time, like so. So now the opponent is losing a piece. If he takes your bishop, then you just take the queen. You can give check and you will just take, and then maybe you can take here. He's lost his right to castle. Maybe you can come here and oh, it's actually a white's turn. White plays here to protect the pawn, and the game can continue. Okay, so that is not advisable to play like that. So knight to f6 here is a blunder. I will mark that one red. It's a bad move. So what should we play instead of knight to f6? We should play queen to f6. And here we play with the queen early. We play our queen to f6. And yes, when you learn the Italian game, you learn not to play your queen early. You learn to play your knights, your minor pieces first, your knights and bishops. But here, knight to f6 is a mistake, because you're going to lose a piece, and here you have to play your queen. And this is why we don't teach the Scotch game when, after you learn how to move the chess pieces, we show you the Italian game. In fact, you should not even know how to play an opening, but it's good to know how to start a game, a chess game, and that's why we teach you the Italian game. And now the Scotch game is a different ball game. You have to be so careful. And now, when white plays knight to b5, white plays the Blumenfeld attack. Okay, so how do you play this one? Bishop will take on e3, then you take back with your pawn e3, and then the queen comes to h4, giving a check. you block with your pawn and the queen goes back to d8. Why does the queen go back to d8? The reason is our knight will go and give a check, and then we will win the rook. And so that's why the opponent goes all the way back to d8 to block or to prevent that attack from happening, because the opponent will now not do that. So now we bring our queen out. Again, as I say, we don't normally play with our queens early, but this is how you play this line in the Scotch. It's theory. Uh, Queen to f4. The idea is to attack the weakest point in the black camp, like this, and then you bring your bishop here, and then you threaten to checkmate. So the opponent needs to be careful. So d6, and then also to get your queen off the c h3 c8 diagonal. Now bishop to c3, and then black blocks with the bishop, otherwise it's checkmate, and then white captures and black captures, and then the game can continue. You can, I mean, nobody's winning. Black just needs to develop his knight, white develops his knight. Black can even play queen to to e7 and then castle long. It's also a possibility. White can also castle short here. But yeah, you can continue with the game from here. So this is the new variation I wanted to show you in the Scotch game. I'm actually not done. There's another line here. If you don't want to play your queen early, you can actually play something different and something that is a little bit more safe. So after bishop to c5 and the opponent plays bishop to e3, you can actually play your bishop back to b6. I've played this against some of my students, and this line continues like this: knight to c3, d6, bishop to e2, knight to f6. You basically just play your bishop to e2. You're just trying to get your piece out. You don't want to post your pieces on aggressive positions. Just getting your pieces out. Now queen to d2. Now this is a bit aggressive, especially when you play your queen forward. Now you want to castle to the queen side. So after white plays queen to d2, black plays queen to e7. Now white castles long, black castles short, and then we play f3 to strong point our pawn here, which was attacked twice. Then rook to e8, then g4, and now you can see white is coming for black on the king side, bishop to e6. And what will happen now is that white will continue and attack on the king side, swing the rook over, launch an attack on the king side. You can see all the pieces are ready to go. And then obviously black will try and launch an attack on the queen side. Obviously black will exchange this bishop because it's a dangerous piece. And so that could be the plans between the two players. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the second variation of the Scotch game. I hope this is helpful. What you should do is I will actually flip the board and I will play through all the variations from the black's perspective so that you can also see how to handle it from the black side. So I'll go with the first variation: e4, e5, knight f3, knight to c6, d4. We have our Scots. E takes d4, knight takes d4, then bishop to c5, bishop to e3, and then here the opponent should not play knight to f6 because we're going to lose a piece. If you take, then bishop takes here and you lose your bishop, and you cannot castle. Maybe now you can play here, but you've lost a piece, and that's not good. Okay. So this is what can happen. And if you capture with the d pawn, then the opponent will capture your queen. That's even worse. The king will capture, and then you will still lose your bishop on c5. So you should not play knight to f6. So remember that one. So what should we play instead? Instead of knight to f6, we should play our queen to f6. That's the proper way to play. And then here white can play the Blumenfeld variation, where you take the pawn on e3, and take note, the opponent cannot come here with a check because you will go here, and if he takes here, then you will checkmate him. See, the game is over in 8 moves. So you have to be so careful. The Scots game is very tricky. So after that capture, white has to take back. And after that, you go queen to h4 check, pawn to g3, and then the queen comes back to d8 to protect c7, and then queen to g4, and then g6, and then queen to f4 for the checkmate, then d6. And also, there's actually another reason why I did mention it earlier on, why the queen comes to f4. There's actually multiple threats. If you're not careful, you will be in so much trouble. Because the knight and the queen attacks on c7, the knight will come check, and then the opponent will pick up your rook. You see? Threatening a knight fork. And then bishop comes out, and then f7 checkmate threat. Multiple threats coming in. Incoming, missile incoming. Watch out, black. So that's why black plays d6. Why? Now black breaks the coordination of the queen and the knight on c7. Now if the knight, oops, let me not use that arrow. Let me use a straight line. You break the coordination of the two pieces. Now if the knight takes, you can just take with the queen, and the opponent lost a piece for a pawn. That's not a good idea. Okay, so after d6, what do? We play bishop to c4. After bishop to c4, bishop to e6, because the opponent threatens to checkmate you. Bishop takes on e6 and pawn takes on e6. And that is the other line that we play in this variation. And then, of course, if you don't like playing your queens, you can actually play something different. But that's the mainline theory in the Scotch, where you don't want to sit back and wait. You are actually lashing out with the queens. And so here is a more calm approach, which I would actually recommend. This is actually the main line I want you to learn here. Bishop to c5, then bishop to e3, then you play your bishop back to b6. And after that, the opponent will play knight to c3, then you play d6, then bishop to e2, then knight to f6, then queen to d2, queen to e7, and then here is now where white will castle long and black will castle short or kingside, pawn to f3, rook to e8, and white lashes out. Then we exchange a few pieces in the center of the board, and we bring our bishop to e6. And this is basically our second variation. This is a safe one. I cannot really say it's safe. It looks very dangerous for black. White is attacking, so you have to be careful of this line. And then as white, you can try this as the white play and see if you can score a quick victory here. This attack pawn storm is also used in the Yugoslav attack, but we introduce it to you in the Scotch game. Thank you for watching. Bye.